Welcome to Science and Technology Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: AI is replacing 007 in the Espionage Arms Race. Pentagon official says Silicon Valley US military ties key to beating China. Flu can cause persistent health problems similar to long COVID, study warns. India student deaths highlight quotas pressure cooker academic culture. China's smartphone market on track to recover in 2024, says IDC report. AI is replacing 007 in the espionage arms race. Bloomberg. The espionage battle between the US and the Soviet Union during the Cold War has continued to the present day, according to Calder Walton, author of Spies, the epic intelligence war between East and West. Walton argues that the contest, which began after the Russian Revolution in 1917, continued during World War II and in the period after the collapse of the Soviet Union. He draws on his experience working as a researcher on the official history of the British Security Service, or MI5, to discuss how the lessons of the First Cold War can be applied to the current conflict between the US and China. He suggests that the British intelligence services have maintained their influence in the geopolitical game due to their expertise, particularly in areas like code breaking, and their close relationship with the US. Walton also notes that the nature of intelligence and national security is being redefined by the use of open-source intelligence and artificial intelligence, and that intelligence communities will need to work more closely with the private sector in order to process the vast quantities of data being collected. Pentagon official says Silicon Valley US military ties key to beating China. South China Morning Post. U.S. Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks visited Silicon Valley to explore how the Pentagon can leverage the innovation that is synonymous with the region. However, she was told by experts that bureaucratic procurement practices were limiting the ability for the military to take advantage of the technological developments coming out of the technology hub. Hicks acknowledged that the Pentagon's two-year appropriations cycle was not suited to the shorter fundraising timelines of startups and that the department needed to bring incentives to the table if it wanted to compete with China in the drone industry. Flu can cause persistent health problems similar to long COVID, study warns. South China Morning Post. Seasonal flu can cause long-term health problems similar to long COVID, especially in the lungs and airways, a new study has warned. Patients hospitalized for either COVID-19 or flu faced a high risk of death, hospital readmission, and organ health problems 18 months after infection. COVID-19 caused a higher long-term risk of death and adverse health outcomes in nearly every organ system. The findings were published in the peer-reviewed journal The Lancet Infectious Diseases. The study compared the outcomes of patients treated in hospital for COVID-19 with those hospitalized with seasonal flu and found that COVID-19 caused a higher risk of disease across all organ systems. The only exception was the pulmonary system, where the risk was higher in flu. India student deaths highlight quotas pressure cooker academic culture. South China Morning Post. Kota, a small city in northern India, has become known for its coaching centers that help students prepare for entrance exams for the country's top medical and engineering universities. Every year, around 200,000 students travel to Kota to attend these centers, hoping to secure a place in a prestigious institution. However, the intense pressure to succeed has led to a distressing number of student suicides in the city. Over the past 10 years, there have been over 100 student suicides in Kota, with 26 reported in a single year. The suicides have highlighted the dark underbelly of India's competitive academic culture and the immense stress that students endure. In response, the Rajasthan state government has issued guidelines requiring coaching institutes to provide more mental health programs and support helplines. The government has also prohibited the admission of students under the age of 14 to these centers. However, the issue is not limited to Kota, with high rates of student suicides also being reported elsewhere in India and in other Asian countries such as South Korea and China. China's smartphone market on track to recover in 2024, says IDC report. South China Morning Post. China's smartphone market is predicted to rebound in the fourth quarter of 2023 and continue its upward trajectory into 2024, with the first annual growth in 3 years. The market is expected to ship 287 million units in 2024, a 3.6% year-on-year increase. This growth is attributed to an improving macroeconomy and consumer demand for better gadgets. The revival of the market will also be boosted by the strong growth of foldable handsets, with annual shipments expected to surge by 53.2% to almost 10 million units. Additionally, Chinese smartphone brands are expected to integrate artificial intelligence, AI, into their devices to drive innovation in the market. Musk says diversity, equity, and inclusion are propaganda words. Bloomberg. Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla, has criticized diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, as propaganda words on the social media platform X. This comes despite Tesla's efforts to promote DEI initiatives, including publishing a DEI report and holding hiring events targeting underrepresented groups. Musk's comments come after Tesla was sued for race discrimination by California's Civil Rights Agency and the Federal Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Tesla has emphasized the importance of inclusion and encourages employees to join employee resource groups that focus on creating a strong community experience within the company. May Pang on her 18-month affair with John Lennon, Yoko has erased me. The Independent. A new documentary titled The Lost Weekend, A Love Story explores the relationship between John Lennon and his former lover May Pang. Pang, who was Lennon's personal assistant while he was married to Yoko Ono, spent 18 months living with Lennon in LA and New York. The documentary delves into their time together and the creative period that both of them experienced. However, in January 1975, Lennon returned to Ono, and Pang was left behind. The documentary reveals that Lennon and Pang remained close and sexually intimate in the years that followed, even after Ono became pregnant. Pang has discussed her experiences and relationship with Lennon in various interviews. She has expressed her understanding of Lennon's decision to return to Ono and has claimed that she and Lennon remained close and had a deep connection despite their separation. Pang has also spoken about the difficulties she faced with Ono after Lennon's death, describing strained encounters and being ignored at events where Ono was present. Pang's documentary has received positive reviews, but critics have noted its bias against Ono. However, Pang has defended her portrayal, stating that the film is her story and that if it is not flattering to Ono, there is nothing she can do about it. She has also discussed her ongoing connection to Lennon's spirit, stating that she feels his presence and receives little messages from him. Overall, the documentary provides insight into the relationship between Lennon and Pang and sheds light on a lesser-known period of Lennon's life. It explores the complexities of their relationship and the impact it had on both of them. Japan and ASEAN deepen ties as security, economic challenges mount. Nikkei Asia. Japan will host a 3-day summit with the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, this weekend. The summit will celebrate 50 years of friendship and cooperation between Japan and ASEAN. The leaders are expected to discuss geopolitical and security challenges in the Indo-Pacific region and will strengthen security cooperation, including maritime security cooperation, disarmament, non-proliferation, and working towards a world without nuclear weapons. The dynamics of the relationship between Japan and ASEAN have shifted as ASEAN's collective economies continue to grow, with a combined population of nearly 700 million people. Dear viewers, I'm Dr. Six, your resident observer from the 6 Degrees world. It's time for another roundup of intriguing news stories from around the globe. So, grab your popcorn and get ready for some thought-provoking analysis. First up, we have the ever-evolving world of espionage. It seems that the days of James Bond may be numbered as AI takes center stage in the intelligence arms race. According to Bloomberg, artificial intelligence and open-source intelligence are redefining the nature of intelligence and national security. The vast amount of data being collected requires closer collaboration between intelligence communities and the private sector. So, while Bond may still have his charm, it's becoming clear that AI is the new hero in the spy world. Moving on to the Pentagon's quest for technological superiority, Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks visited Silicon Valley to explore how the U.S. military can leverage the region's innovation. However, bureaucratic procurement practices are hindering the military's ability to take advantage of technological developments. As reported by the South China Morning Post, the Pentagon needs to bring incentives to the table if it wants to compete with China in the drone industry. Maybe it's time for the military to take a page from Silicon Valley's playbook and embrace a more agile approach. In health news, a study warns that the flu can cause long-term health problems similar to long COVID. The Lancet Infectious Diseases published a study comparing the outcomes of patients treated for COVID-19 and seasonal flu. The study found that COVID-19 caused a higher risk of disease in nearly every organ system, except for the pulmonary system, where the risk was higher in flu. So, next time you're feeling under the weather, don't underestimate the power of the common flu. Now, let's shine a light on India's academic pressure cooker. Kota, a small city in northern India, has become synonymous with coaching centers that help students prepare for entrance exams. However, the intense pressure to succeed has resulted in a distressing number of student suicides. The South China Morning Post reports that over the past decade, there have been over 100 student suicides in Kota. The government is taking steps to address the issue, requiring coaching institutes to provide more mental health programs and support helplines. It's a reminder that success should never come at the cost of mental well-being. Switching gears to the tech world, China's smartphone market is set to rebound in 2024, according to an IDC report. After 3 years of decline, the market is predicted to ship 287 million units in 2024, driven by an improving macroeconomy and consumer demand for better gadgets. The report also highlights the strong growth of foldable handsets and the integration of artificial intelligence into devices. So, if you're in the market for a new smartphone, it looks like 2024 will be the year to upgrade. In other news, Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, has stirred up controversy once again. Bloomberg reports that Musk criticized diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, as propaganda words. This comes despite Tesla's efforts to promote DEI initiatives. The comments come after Tesla was sued for race discrimination. It seems that even the most innovative minds can sometimes stumble when it comes to embracing diversity. And finally, a documentary titled The Lost Weekend, A Love Story explores the relationship between John Lennon and his former lover, May Pang. The Independent reports that the documentary delves into their time together and the creative period they experienced. It sheds light on a lesser-known period of Lennon's life and the complexities of their relationship. However, critics have noted its bias against Yoko Ono. Regardless, the documentary provides valuable insight into a fascinating chapter in music history. That's all for today's news roundup. I hope you enjoyed the stories and my witty commentary. Now, it's your turn. What are your thoughts on these topics? Do you think AI will truly replace spies like 007? How can the military better leverage Silicon Valley's innovation? And what do you make of Elon Musk's comments on DEI? Join the discussion and let your voice be heard. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the 6 Degrees world. Yours in observation, Dr. 6. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.